a lovely, precious dream. To be young, gifted, and black. You wonder how to what it means. The whole world, you know. There's a million boys and girls who are young, gifted, and black, and that's a fact. Alright, so let's talk. Let's talk. So we all know Mao from the Joe Budden podcast. I watch the Joe Budden podcast. I enjoy their commentary. I check in from here and there, watch it. The podcast be kind of long, so I'm always watching kind of late. But so apparently, I don't know who did it, who found them, or why they found them, or what they were doing, or what the hell they were searching for. But somebody went back into his Twitter account, back into some old tweets surfacing from 2010, 11, 12, 13, and 14, where he said some really very discouraging things against and about black women. Um, I don't understand it. I don't like. Here are some of the things he was saying. He said, "Shout out to all my angry black women out there and the poor guy that has to put up with your ass." Wow, cool. Dark skinned women nipples look like leather buttons on a peacock. Cool. Wow. Um. Now, when he said dark skinned women nipples look like leather buttons on a peacock, I'm kind of lost for words. I mean, at this point, it's like this hate, all this hate that black women are getting, especially dark skinned black women. It's kind of just ridiculous. The colorism, within, our community has to kind of cease. I mean, we understand the roots of it and what it stems from, but, he wasn't a child when he made the statements. He wasn't a teenager, or a little kid or nothing like that. So, it's the fact that you still have, your mid-age adults or, young adults who still have this mindset, who still think this way. To be honest, these sound like comments that, a self-hating young black man would make while he's still in high school, middle school. You call them that kind of ghetto, nonsense rhetoric that you hear when you're in schools. But to hear somebody, in their 20s, saying shit like this, it kind of makes you think, and it's kind of sad. He also said that black women take better care of their hair than they do their kids. So are you talking about your grandmother as well? You're talking about your aunties, you're talking about your sisters, you're talking about your mother. Like I don't understand why black men, specifically dark skinned black men come for dark skinned black women. Like if you are dark skinned yourself, you have a black mother. Why would you go on a national platform spewing hate about your own women? It just don't make sense. It just don't make sense. He also said black chicks put their daughter hair in a tight ponytail until their eyes get chinky and tell people their father is mixed. Like, I don't know if a lot of dark skinned black women hurt him in the past or, if this is how he feels about black women in general or what the case may be. Now, again, these tweets are old. Again, these are from like 2011, 12, 13, and 14. But, there's still a thing there of, these tweets were still available. Like, I don't know why people haven't learned that social media can and will come back to bite you in the ass. It's kind of why I'm glad I don't have my Twitter and all that anymore because you may have said some things a few years ago, and you may not have meant it. And I don't know if he meant it or not. Like I don't know if he's come out and made a statement or apologized or whatever. But it just these kind of things. It goes beyond just opinions. Like this is how you feel about yourself, about your people. Because again, these are the women that breed the children. These are the women that raise you. These are the women that you're supposed to love and protect. So why are you online, spewing hate and nonsense? Another thing he said was, real talk, white women and Spanish women are surprisingly surpassing black women on the sex charts. Then he also made a tweet about, black women only want you to nut in the condom, and why do they act like they've been shot if nut gets on them? Like it's one thing to have these conversations with a friend, even though it's inappropriate, but it's another thing to tweet these. Like you don't tweet these kinds of things. Like this is sick. Like why are you making such disparaging comments about women and talking about their futures? Making fun of their skin tone, these kinds of things. Like it's not funny. It's ridiculous. I would like to say to all the black women out there, specifically all the dark skinned black women, that you are beautiful, young, gifted, and black. you are worthy, do not, ascribe or listen to this kind of rhetoric. I understand if you're upset and you want to, raise hell, because you definitely should, because, this is upsetting. But I definitely, we all black men do not think like that. We do not all agree with, shit like, Mao and other men who were retweeting him. And then the crazy thing about this whole situation is that they have Joe Budden retweeting some of these tweets and, laughing at the stuff. And it's like, you can't, and then he himself is not married to a black woman. So it's just you can't, I don't understand why, again, why black men, will go on national platforms and disrespect black women in such a way. Like, everybody can see this now, so you see how, you said this shit in the past, but somebody was able to go back and dig it up, and now, you're gonna have the answer to this, What is gonna be your response? What is your rebuttal? An apology is nice, but at the end of the day, this still remains the fact that, you have an obvious issue with black women, dark skinned women. Or else why would you have been saying these things? And it's like, I don't know. I wish they would have put more of this in context. Like they would have put like his whole timeline from that time. Like, what even brought these conversations? What made him say these things? To me, it's just disheartening. It's disappointing. Um, I'm not happy about this at all. I didn't even know about this, but I saw that Paris Milan had did a video on it, and I was watching it. And she even had a hard time herself. Reading some of the stuff he was saying, because it's offensive. It's offensive to black culture. It's offensive to black women. It's offensive to to our our native looks. Our indigenous looks. To how we look. Our features, our skin. Whether it be men or women. Like, if you hate the dark skinned women, then you hate dark skinned men as well. And if you hate, dark skinned men and women, then you hate, black people. So, like this that is disappointing again, because I actually liked Mao. I thought he was kind of funny. He would say, some funny stuff sometimes. But, like, it's just disappointing that, these kind of rhetoric will come from him. And again, I encourage anybody who has social media to go back and review your timeline, your tweets, and delete shit that could get you, in trouble. And I'm not excusing this, not saying that there's excuses for what he said or what he, what he did in the past, but it definitely sheds a light on, how, some people feel about themselves and how they feel about the women of our community. Again, I just want to say again to all, black women, you are beautiful, beautiful as hell. I see beautiful sisters all the time. I see them at work. I see them, walking down the street. I see them at stores. I see them at clubs. I see them at bars. I see them, at jobs. I see them doing their business. I see them raising their children. I again, I'm not with the, hate black women rhetoric. Again, these are old tweets, but I just think it says a lot about, who he is and how he feels about our own women. And for Joe Budden to have been laughing about it at the time and retweeting it, and then for him himself not to be, married to a black woman, also says a lot. So it's interesting to see what's going to come of this. I don't know if they've responded to this yet. I feel like they should and have to respond. They should definitely, I guess, talk about it on the podcast. But they're definitely going to lose a lot of, women, who listen, who are fans of the podcast, who were offended, by the statements that Mount made in the past. Because again, is even though these statements are made in the past, it still says, it gives us an insight to, how he thought or how he may have once thought. And we don't know if he's changed these thoughts. So again, to all, beautiful black women out there, fuck it, fuck him. But I understand, y'all being upset.